Welcome to this episode of the Harpreet Singh Show. During the last days of the campaigning now, we are today talking to Mr. Adrian Dix, leader of the opposition. Let's talk to him about this campaign and what he brings forward for the public of British Columbia. Welcome to the program.
It's great to be on the show.
Thank you. So during this campaign period, what all have you experienced and what were the major issues which were brought by the public to you?
Well, I think a key issue is making sure young people have the skills they need for the jobs of the future. It's an issue that we've put at the heart of the NDP platform. It's the change we need to bring. 80% of the jobs of the future will require post-secondary education. That includes university and colleges and trades and training. The Liberals have let us down in this regard, and so it's hurt business, it's hurt prosperity, and it's hurt young people. So we're going to make this a key focus now and into the future to ensure that young people have those skills that they need, those opportunities they need in the future, and that businesses have the skilled workers they need to grow.
Mr. Dix, there has been a lot of negative campaign from the opposition, and the way you have reacted, what do you think about this kind of campaign coming forward?
Well, look, the Liberals have run one of the most misleading, one of the most negative, one of the most personal campaigns we've ever seen, maybe the most. And I've responded because I want to encourage people to participate by being positive, by putting forward concrete plans, by saying how we'd pay for things. I think that's a real difference. I think people will have a choice. I don't think people want to wake up and reward the Liberal Party for what's been a misleading campaign. And they've said that they believe in lower debt, in eliminating the debt, and they've raised the debt more than any other party in history. They say they're for jobs, and their jobs plan has lost private sector jobs. So I think that people want change for the better. They see this election as providing change for the better, and I think to do that, they have to vote NDP.
And you have been claiming that once you inherit power, you're going to inherit a fiscal mess. But this government has been claiming about balanced budgets. So where is this fiscal mess?
Well, clearly there's a fiscal mess. I mean, we have an $800 million deficit this year, the biggest increase in the debt under any premier in history under Premier Clark. We have a situation at BC Hydro where they are essentially borrowing money to pay it to the government, right? Which is a pretty significant situation. They're pretending to balance the budgets based on a one-time sale of assets, but they won't tell us really what assets they're going to sell. In other words, it's a fiscal mess. It's a major deficit. And so what that means for us is we can't add to that mess. We've had to put forward a balanced program, said what we're going to do and said how we're going to pay for it, because we know that we're going to inherit a very serious and negative situation fiscally from the Liberal government.
So, Mr. Dix, the opposition, means the Liberal Party, has been saying that if the NDP comes to power, the people will have to face those days of 90s when there was no business, people had to run away from there. So how do you assure that if you are elected as the premier, you will focus on a strong economy and especially focus on the small businesses also?
Well, look, this is more misleading talk from the Liberals. I mean, the NDP was in power in the 1990s. 129,000 more people came to BC than left BC for other provinces in that period. Since this Premier Clark, has come to power, we've lost people in every quarter. People have been going to Alberta since the Premier launched her jobs plan. So we need to change that. We need a government that says yes to skills training, ensuring that small businesses, medium-sized businesses, big businesses have the workers they need to grow and to prosper. We have to say yes to forestry, and our plan does that by investing in the future, by replanting trees, investing in an inventory in forestry, and ensuring that BC logs go for BC jobs. Yes to mining by reducing permitting wait times. Yes to film and television by ensuring that our workers get the right to compete. And our tax credit proposal does just that, while the Liberals do nothing. So our plan is to grow the economy, because you need to grow the economy, and we intend to, in order to ensure that we address issues of inequality and poverty as well.
Mr. Dix, a lot of British Columbians are living on minimum wage, and with the inflation increasing every year, it's becoming difficult. So if you are elected as Premier, would you look into this aspect of increasing the minimum wage also?
We will. The minimum wage has increased recently, and we would put in a provision that meant that the minimum wage rises with inflation every year. In other words, we change the law and say that the minimum wage would rise with the rate of inflation, so that people did not, at the lowest end of the labor market, lose purchasing power.
Education, when we talk about education also, it's becoming difficult, and especially in Surrey. A lot of portables can be found. So do you focus on this particular issue also? Is it of importance to you?
It's of critical importance. 10 years, 12 years of Liberal government now, and we've had nothing but fighting over education. And I think that's got to change. And so we've made specific proposals to address issues of class size and composition. And with Surrey having, for example, the biggest school district in the province, the youngest population in the province, this community will benefit more than most. Look, education is more important than it's ever been. More important than when I was going to school, I'd argue. 80% of the jobs of the future require post-secondary education, and that means we need excellent K-12 education. Mm-hmm. So what would I like to see? I think we've got to focus on issues of class size and composition and improve the quality of education in our public schools. And that's something here in Surrey that people really care about.
Immigration trends are changing, and the public who's coming over here is mostly educated now. And when they land over here, the foreign credentials are not recognized, and it's a kind of a war between the provincial government and the federal government. So if you are elected, would you look into this aspect of foreign credentials also?
We've put a specific plan to do just that. I think you have many people coming to the country based on credentials that they then can't use. And that's something we can do something about, working with the federal government, but also with the professions to ensure that credentials are recognized.
Lots of promises which are being made, but ultimately it is going to depend. What are going to be your priorities if you are elected as a premier? Because as you said, there's fiscal mess, there is mess in education, there's mess in healthcare also. So what would you prioritize?
Well, that's why we put forward clear priorities in our platform. Skills training is a priority, making sure young people have the skills they need for the jobs of the future. That's critical for the economy. If we're going to build things like LNG, we need skilled workers, so that's key, one. Two, we got to make sure we take care of the land so that we can have prosperity in future generations, and that means investing in forest health. In provincial jurisdiction for provincial governments, healthcare is essential, and that's why our practical plans to improve healthcare, particularly for seniors, are so important. And for, obviously, public education is important. It's a major provincial responsibility, and a lot of what we do as a society depends on the quality of our public schools. We know it hasn't been going as well as it should. We know we can do better.
And towards the end, again, being in Surrey now today, and most of the program watchers are South Asians, what would be your message to them? Why should they vote for the NDP now?
Oh, for the reasons I said. It's time for a change, a change for the better, for a practical set of plans that will make things better now, not more of the same. Not more of the same of a government that doesn't treat people very respectfully, more of the same of the government that hurt the economy with the HST. People want a change. They need a change. The Liberal Party even needs a change. They need some time in opposition after what's been a very poor 4 years. So what we need to do, and what we've done, is show people practical steps for change. But, if people wake up on the 15th and it's the Liberal Party re-elected, I think people are going to be pretty disappointed after these 4 years. That's why they should vote for their NDP candidate. It's time for a change.
Thank you, and best wishes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.